It was a little less than 1 month ago when the HISD Board of Trustees officially approved Millard House II as the new superintendent. On the job now for a bit more than a week, he's hit the ground running, getting to know his district. He's in charge of leading and visiting some of the more than 200,000 students he's now responsible for. It's the biggest job he's ever had in terms of numbers of people, and may also be in terms of the challenges of the district he now leads. I'm delighted to welcome Mr. Millard House II to Houston Newsmakers. Welcome to Houston, and welcome to this new challenge you have in front of you. How's it going so far? How's the new gig treating you?
Well, Cambro, first of all, thank you for having me. And as we think about the job itself, it definitely is a daunting opportunity, but I see it just as it is. Mm-hmm. It's an opportunity with lots of challenges, lots of peaks and valleys. But it is full of opportunities. When we think about the children in the Houston metro area and Harris County, I see individuals that are hopeful, that look for the opportunities to be college and career ready, and I'm ready and willing to take on the challenge. It's
a little bit different from you. Transition from Clarksville, Montgomery County School in Tennessee. How are you wrapping your mind around the changes in the way you will lead, a different strata of leadership that's going to have to be in place? How are you starting to deal with that?
Clarksville was a great starting opportunity for me as a superintendent, but please know and understand that I've had opportunities in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is one of the larger school districts in the country as well. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Spent time in New York. Spent time on the West Coast in California. So scale is scale. I have seen scale before. So it's not something that worries me. I think what you have to do when you're developing capacity and building capacity in a place like HISD is that you take it one chunk at a time. Mm-hmm. You ensure that the equity exists in everything that you do in terms of execution and fidelity. So we're looking forward to it regardless of how big or small.
So HISD is still right now in the sights of the Texas Education Agency. I mean, they were looking at plans to take over the district. It's in a holding pattern right now. You knew that when you applied, certainly. And what were your concerns then and now about that possibility that you're coming into a district that's still dealing with TEA issues? You know,
that was a different time. I've had an opportunity to sit down with individuals from TEA and have some of those conversations. There'll be ongoing conversations. But what I think we have to focus on is what's in front of us. We have a group of kids, over 200,000 kids that are coming back from a pandemic. We have to focus on learning loss. We have to focus on re-engaging our students. We have to focus on making sure that they understand it's a safe environment. And I think if we focus on the right things, then everything with TEA, performance, Wheatley, anything else that's been a concern that's out there, it'll come to fruition, and the data will show what we need to do and what we need to focus on.
So you said you had conversations with some folks from TEA. Did you get a sense about the tone of going forward, what that may look like, or you get a sense that they may pull back from their efforts to try to take over?
Wasn't necessarily looking for a tone or listening for a tone. I was just listening, and that's a part of what I'm doing with my 90-day plan. I'm getting out to as many community members, as many parents, as many students. TEA, I have a calendar that is locked up for the next several weeks to do as much listening and learning as possible. So TEA, I believe, still has some concerns, but I think many of those concerns have a history. And we're in a different place now. Not to say that my presence is going to change the future, but what I do believe is that our focus on innovation, our focus on ensuring that we develop the kind of learning loss plans that will improve the performance, will improve what happens not only with us as a school system, but also the perception that TEA has as well.
I would think, what I sense from you now and what I have sensed from your comments previously is that you're an optimistic person.
Absolutely.
And I have to think that your presence here, even though you say it won't change the future, I have to think that you probably hope and expect that your presence here will change the future for the positive for HISD.
Well, the plan, the board brought me here for a reason. They brought me here not just for the status quo and to keep us where we are, but to move us into the future in a positive manner. So my expectation is that, with a plan, with the kind of presence, with a great executive staff, those things will bring on what we expect in terms of performance for our kiddos in the future.
You mentioned something about the pandemic and what was going on. That certainly, HISD, like all of the districts across the country, had to deal with that. It was one of the biggest challenges for public schools ever, and that is pandemic lockdowns, kids having to figure out whole different ways to study, teachers having to figure out whole different ways to teach. Now you have to make up for what clearly was a lot of loss in terms of learning. What are some of the specific challenges you see, and are there any kind of efforts that are underway now to try to make up for that?
It's just that. Many of our kids have not seen a classroom in over a year. That's a challenge in itself. Many of our kids that have seen a classroom have only seen a classroom electronically. Many of our educators are worn out. They're tired. So this summer is a major step in the right direction. We have nearly 60,000 kids that are receiving support, not just academic support, but support from a social and emotional standpoint as well. So tomorrow will actually be the last day of our official summer session, where again, thousands of kids have seen support. Now that support will, go beyond this summer. Of course, with the federal impact aid, or ESSER dollars, federal COVID relief dollars, allows for us over the course of the next 3 years to provide learning loss supports for our children, not just during the summer, but even during the school year. So we're developing a plan as we speak to be approved by the Texas Education Agency that will allow several different types of supports depending on what campus you're on. But what we will do is ensure that learning loss is a priority. Social and emotional wraparound services are a major piece of what we're going to be doing as well.
You mentioned earlier about a 90-day plan. And so I want to talk to you quickly about some of your short-term and long-term priorities in your tenure.
Absolutely. Three main goals, and number one we've already talked a little bit about, which is re-engaging our families, re-engaging our community, because again, we were literally on lockdown for a big portion of, of the first semester. We also want to ensure that a safe and orderly environment is really expected, known, blown up in an effort. We're working closely with the Harris County Health Department, the CDC, the American Academy of Pediatrics, to make sure that we're making the right decisions. What I can say right now, the community spread data tells us that we're at about 4% in comparison to 24% at the height of the pandemic. That tells us that the environment is much safer than it was at one particular time. So we want our community to know that as we speak currently, our summer schools, and hopefully the start of the school year as well, it's a safe environment. We need our children back. The best environment for them to learn in, for the most part, is an in-person environment where our students can, just like you and I are right now, are in front of each other engaging in conversation. Our student and teachers need that same kind of environment. And it's important for them to understand that we need them back, we want them back, and we're looking forward to having them back.
Superintendent House, welcome to Houston. Thank you for being here as a part of Newsmakers. Your first visit to Newsmakers, one first of what I hope will be many more. Anytime there's something you want to talk about, you have an open invite to come here to do that, and I hope you'll do that.
We look forward to it. Thank you.
Also, thank you for sticking around and doing our Newsmakers Extra. We'll do that coming up. You go to the Houston Newsmakers Extra site on our clicktohouston.com.